new report card looking at the state of new housing in Ontario is out, and Toronto received a failing grade. The report, done by Rescon and the University of Ottawa's Missing Middle Initiative, assessed the state of housing sales and construction over the first 9 months of the year. It assessed 34 municipalities in the GTA and Greater Golden Horseshoe region. 17 received an F and another 9 received a D, while the other 8 municipalities received a C or higher. The highest grade went to Newmarket with an A+. The City of Toronto received an F. The authors of the report also say the decline in new home construction has a direct impact on the city's labor market. And for more on what stood out on the report, let's bring in Rescon President Richard Lyle. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining us. We appreciate it. Tell us more about this report and why Toronto received the F.
Well, this is the second report, and it's done quarterly, so it'll fluctuate up and down depending on what happens in different municipalities. If you have a big project in a smaller municipality, the numbers will go up, but it'll be for that quarter. I mean, Toronto got an F because, the numbers just aren't there. There's been an uptick in rental. That kind of saved a bit of the numbers going forward. But certainly, when you look at condos and what we call ground-oriented units, low-rise, in other words, it's down. There's some changes happening with the missing middle, but that has to take hold yet. But basically, it's a pretty bad report. And the sales numbers, which are really scary for the covered by the report, are, high-rise down 89%, low-rise down 65%, actually speak to this getting worse. And the job numbers are bad. In Toronto, it's 15,000 fewer jobs. Overall, 35,000 now. So, I mean, if you equate that to autos or steel, it's pretty serious because these are, good jobs and we can't afford to lose them. We can't afford to lose the skills.
Talk to us more about this and the trickle-down effect that the new home construction not having it has.
Well, it reverberates through the economy because there are so many industries that feed into this. When we talk about 35,000 jobs, that's actual construction workers. And then when you think about all the suppliers and the industries that support the construction activity, it's huge. And, unfortunately, and I know this will sound odd, but housing became the #1 industry in the province, and it shouldn't be. And the reason for that is because, things really took off. The immigration numbers went right through the roof. And there was a shortage of supply to begin with. And so we've ended up with this particular situation. And the reason why we've done this report is because there's all these announcements on new projects here and there and, the government getting involved and whatever else like that. Governments cannot replace the private sector. The private sector produces 95% of housing. So, we needed to put this into context, and it wasn't being done. Where do we stand relative to the targets that the government has set? And that's what this report does. It breaks those targets down by municipality, and then it says, okay, where are we at? Now, one of the things that happened with rental housing, which is important, is the development charges, which are basically a consumer tax, which have become way overblown, putting, the cost of new infrastructure on the backs of new renters and buyers was out of control. And then, of course, the sales taxes, as a result of prices going up, went up and up and up. And that, that, of course, needs to be changed. And there are some efforts to do that right now, but it's not biting yet. So we are where we are.
What's the future for this? Will it pick back up?
Well, this is all going to depend on how quickly the government adjusts the costs that they've imposed on new housing. I mean, we measured that. We did it in another report, measured it at 36% of the total cost of new housing is taxes, fees, and levies. That doesn't include an inefficient approvals process where, over time it's taken longer and longer to get projects approved. That has a cost in itself too. And all these costs are borne by the consumer. I mean, the industry produces housing for a market. And in fact, we produce social housing too as well. We basically build all of it because we're the building industry. And these costs just got out of control. And that's because you got 3 levels of government, 4 if you add regional, all with their fingers in the pie. You've got mission creep there. You've had expanding regulations, people trying to fix everything at once. And the cost just got too high. And that's where young families, and why young families are now leaving the area. We're losing talent. Some immigrants that have come here, really talented ones, are leaving. And that's all, it all comes down to the cost of housing. And housing, of course, is connected to well-being. It's connected to healthcare. It's connected to education. So we've got to get this right, because we have to compete. We've got to compete with the U.S., and we can't compete with the U.S. when our cost of housing ratio to incomes is so much higher than theirs, and so much higher than basically anywhere else except for Vancouver. And you don't want to compare yourself to Vancouver.
Thank you so much for this, Richard. We really appreciate your time and your insight. Richard Lyle is the Rescon president. Thank you.